everyone. Thank you once again for joining us on our SourceSage Top Leadership series. Today we have with us Mr. Shirish Jain, Program Director for Proxtera, and of course our CEO, Xin Jianming from SourceSage. So this coffee session, we are going international, looking at cross-border trade, how it empowers B2B e-commerce platforms, and also the future of e-commerce. So now let's learn from Mr. Shirish, who is an expert in the field. Mr. Shirish, could you give us an introduction of yourself and also your role in Proxtera?
Sure. Hi, Adlin. Hi, Jiamin. Thanks for having me here. It's great. So about myself, I'm Shirish. I spent bulk of my life in financial services as well as innovators looking at supply chain and digitalization. I've worked recently in payments, transaction banking, and capital markets, mostly in Australia. But for the last 3 years, I call Singapore home. It's great to be here. About Proxtera, Proxtera is a B2B platform of platforms, and that is focused on improving outcomes spanning from solvency to liquidity for small to medium enterprises. As we all know, SMEs are the engine room of any well-progressed and well-functioning economy, including in terms of GDP as well as net employment. I've been very fortunate, and I'm excited to have been part of the Proxtera journey so far for almost 2 years now. I'm the day-to-day program director for Proxtera, and I'm really pleased to be here and look forward to some interesting conversation.
Audience has probably seen like the big launch of Proxtera at the Singapore FinTech Festival last year. Could we take a step back and understand like the origins of Proxtera, like how was it founded and by who? Like as a backup, it's a startup backed by our Singapore renowned organizations, Monetary Authority Singapore, as well as Infocom Media Development Agency, who are driving its mission.
Sure. So as you said, the two leading Singapore agencies, Monetary Authority of Singapore and Infocom Media Development Authority, or agency MAS and IMDA, they conceptualized BSB, the Business Sans Borders, in 2018, and it was shared at the Singapore FinTech Festival back then. The purpose being to digitalize world's SME and connect them using their preferred platforms. In 2019, we collectively announced a successful proof of concept for BSB, which involved a few leading private sector entities, and it established the technical feasibility of the concept. And from that point onwards, we got our skates on. Out of this, Proxtera, a Singapore company, it's born. It involves professional investors, private sector stakeholders, public sector sponsors. And you're right, the Proxtera launched its platform at the last Singapore FinTech Festival in December 2020 with a big bang. And we had a successful landing in 3 markets in Asia, which is India, Philippines, and Singapore, and then a few in Africa. The concept of BSB, and this is where the transition from a concept to a public, traded, well-formed enterprise of Proxtera comes into play, where Proxtera is set up to realize the dream and the vision of BSB. It's the private sector entity that's going to commercialize the outcomes over here. We have SourceSage as our founding and at launch partners for Proxtera. We are already live with 2 more platforms in Philippines. We are live in India, and then we are live connected through Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda, and Ghana.
There has an objective to help facilitate cross-border trade, which can be difficult given the current situation. So what do you think are some of the challenges like your team have faced?
Excellent question. When we started this journey, like I said, in 2018, none of us had the pandemic, which has seen us evolve through in last 1 year. None of us had any idea about that. And what we found ourselves walking into last year and going through a number of conversations, that Proxtera could not have happened soon enough. Why do I say that, and why do we believe in that strongly? There are 3 things. Even before COVID, most of the SMEs typically operate within their natural domain of influence in the physical world. Often they will operate within their city, I'm talking outside Singapore, for example, which is still developing or other countries. Or if they're slightly more resourceful, they'll go into their region, but seldom cross the borders and start trading exports. Because when you start doing exports, a lot of risk, uncertainty, and a lot of requirements crop in for which they may not have resources or capabilities to deliver to. But those who did, they would normally travel around, go to trade shows, exhibitions, or otherwise to find buyers and sellers. What has happened through in last 1 year, with the travel cutoff and physical contact removed or reduced, the SMEs are finding difficult to have buyers and sellers access. Secondly, so that's been a big challenge that confirmed our core going in view and vision that we need to be able to make it simple for buyers and sellers at the SME level to connect with each other. Second thing is, as an intermediary, we are absolutely committed to enable the underlying platforms and SME use. For example, in Singapore, it could be SourceSage for the customers using SourceSage. We want to extend the reach without making them leave their platforms. They are able to enjoy the benefits and the value they get from SourceSage's platform and still connect the global buy side or sell side opportunities. And that's the true power and purpose that Proxtera brings in. What we have learned furthermore is just having trade is not good enough. Like I said earlier, Proxtera's purpose spans from solvency to liquidity. Even if you can make an SME get access to a trade, his or her next problem is often about working capital. Is there a certainty of payments? How do I manage logistics and shipping? So what we are doing is we are bringing those service providers onto Proxtera so that the rest of Proxtera network, the platforms, are able to use their services. For example, escrow payments, which reduces the risk of buyer or supplier non-performance from a payment perspective. We are working with shipping providers or logistics and fulfillment agents to create products that are uniquely needed to meet the needs for SME. And that's been one of the key challenges that we found. And lastly, we also recognize there's a lot of requirement for certification, documentation, and other information exchange. So we are working with some of the partners to bring services which will further streamline an SME's challenges to export in a cross-border environment. And what is the outcome of that? We strongly believe if we can start to provide these services to an SME buyer or seller without leaving the core platform, in that case, they will have more capacity to focus on their core development of the business as opposed to working on these gaps or capabilities they need to do cross-border trade. And this is where we are quite excited about it.
What steps have you actually taken to solve these challenges and for the SMEs as well?
That's an excellent question, Edlin. As I'm sure Jamin will agree with that, challenges faced by SMEs are quite unique, even though they may sound similar. For example, we'll hear a lot of conversations about trade finance. But when a large trading deal happens and it's financed at a commercial level, those are run in many zeros, maybe a few $1 million. They have standard worked out practices that are very well suited in the real world. When an SME does the trade, which could be $10,000 or in that range, those same products do not translate well at that ticket sizes. So what we are doing now is working with solution providers and service providers to come up with products that actually address the scale at which SME operates. And it's the scaling down of that product and bringing them to work at the SME level. I can even take it a non-financial example. If you were to say an SME will seldom ship a full container of product on a trade. But then how do you make it simple for an SME to manage a less than container load? So those are the kind of solutions that we are working with some of the service providers and other partners to find out and make them available digitally so that it makes it attractive for an SME to trade cross-border.
Right, okay. Something like combining all the shipments into one container, like with an agent.
I think you said it. You need people who will consolidate goods, who will take somewhere and at the destination and take them out and deliver to where they need to be.
Okay. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit more on like the partners for Proxtera. Like, what are the roles they are playing, and moving forward, is Proxtera looking to digitize more trade associations and local business communities with their own marketplaces?
I think it goes without saying, for a network of networks or a platform that Proxtera is, we can only exist because of our partners, and we exist for our partners. And it is extremely important for us to foster and nurture a well-going ecosystem of partners around us. That our partners include platforms such as SourceSage and other marketplaces. Our partners include service providers, which could be leading financial institutions, could be some fintech innovators, both in financial services as well as logistics, certification, and others. And then our partners also include innovators who will try to help us find solutions to the problem for which solutions do not readily exist. So we are really trying to work through all three dimensions of our partner ecosystem and then create mutual value for each of them. Now, your other question is about a very unique cohort that exists in our community, which is the trade associations or communities of interest that you may want to call them, or close user groups.
Yeah.
The trade associations have been particularly impacted by COVID or the pandemic that we are currently going through, because their typical business model has been around taking their members into a trade fair or exhibition, creating face-to-face contact, which drives to trade or commerce. With physical contact gone, there's actually an acute need for creating digital equivalent for a trade association members so that they can continue to capture trades or commerce through cross-border or even in the same market. So it could be regional or in-country. The big challenge trade associations face is they often do not have a ready trading platform. And given there is a massive compression of time in today's terms, there's an acute need for solutions that allow rapid rollout and scale up for the trade associations to bring the full business-to-business trading capability, which requires ability to search and look up, engage with the buyers or seller, as well as manage the payment and the whole order processing around that. And we are quite fortunate that Singapore itself has a number of wide ecosystem of trade association, and then this also happens in almost every other country that we walk into. And the consistent message we get is how quickly can we enable our members to have a trading capability. So in that regard, we are quite fortuitous that Proxtera is solving an absolute current world problem in that is faced by the SMEs who are also members of various trade associations. And it's great that SourceSage has been able to work with us and partner with us in solving in at least one scenario in one of the countries nearby.
So you mentioned like trade associations. How do you think like partners like SourceSage, white label platforms can play a role?
So for a trade association, like I was talking earlier, the big challenge is how rapidly can they bring their trading portal to the market. A white label solution allows rapid rollout, and especially if they don't have an existing environment, it also creates a risk-free model or a low-risk model, because there is not a lot of development to be done unless they require some specific customization. That may be the case in some scenario. And you actually go into a very business-focused lens, working with the members and their leadership team to say what the functionality they want, how quickly they want to roll it out. It reduces that development capability, and it allows them to engage members differently. Also, once you have this environment, we believe it will also drive the membership base of those trade associations, because they will be able to differentiate how they're creating actual monetary outcome for their members. Now, over time, we do see in-market champions of such white label platforms to emerge from Proxtera, and there will be many models. One could be a complete business process outsourcing, which is lock, stock, and barrel managed by a third party. It could be a managed service, or it could just be a independent software vendor which gives a Proxtera ready solution out of the box. and there will be different needs which will be aligned with the trade association or other user groups that may be out there. But we are quite excited how Proxtera is able to create an ecosystem and value outcome for its partners by exposing them to these new opportunities that may arise.
Okay, what are some plans like for Proxtera moving forward in 2021 in terms of like partnerships, commercial impact?
So we have a very ambitious agenda in front of us. We want to deepen in the markets that we are already present, including Singapore, that's a home market. We want to move into new markets and territories, including Southeast Asia. We already want to focus more on Africa as well as some other countries we're having discussion with. We want to bring in and expand our category focus. From currently, we are looking at F&B in non-perishable space, FMCG and other allied areas. We want to walk into some other categories such as non-OEM equipment or otherwise, which we believe there's a demand for in the SME sector. We also want to simplify and increase the pace at which a platform can onboard to Proxtera, both on the buy side, sell side, as well as marketplaces, which also will mean a simplified tech integration capability. We are expanding our API pools. We are going to bring in financial services offerings such as escrow payments, invoice financing, purchase order financing this year, as well as a whole swag of non-financial services such as consolidation, as well as fulfillment from an SME perspective, and certification services around that one. Of course, this will require us to work with our partners to elevate them in complying with Proxtera's new APIs and offering those services, as well as hopefully create newer white label solutions around it, which further accelerates rollout of these platforms and capabilities to folks who do not have them.
Okay. Maybe Jamin, would you like to share like what are some initiatives SourceSage is doing to support these trends?
So first of all, thanks Shirish for sharing. Yeah, I think it's a blessing that I think audience around the world can actually understand more in depth into Proxtera, motivation and plans moving forward with regards to product and also on the commercial side, how different parties can actually benefit. As you can see in my background, actually we our main mission is to facilitate global trades, right? So a huge part of that is really very, very aligned to what I think Proxtera also believes in, which is to facilitate global trades, particularly in the B2B space. And of course, SourceSage way of doing it is really through digitizing each enterprise with our own SourceSage platform to help them to start, grow, and scale online when it comes to digital business, right? So it is fortunate that I think SourceSage has been able to provide Proxtera our white labeled B2B platform solution for the trade associations that you're working with. So the way we see it is that we will definitely we are committed and we will definitely continue to provide our white labeled solution to more of the clients who require it through your network. And of course, to be able to have a win-win situation where we can actually tap on the APIs that's available in the Proxtera network. And likewise, for SourceSage to provide some of this if there's a need for the client base that you have. So in short, I think from SourceSage side, we definitely will be working over the next few months to a year, more partners. We see Proxtera as a huge channel partner for us in 2021 and beyond, especially because I think Proxtera has been backed by some of the renowned Singapore government agencies, which is of course in line with what I think government has been trying to help. SourceSage solution has been pre-approved by IMDA as well, so that helps on the smaller merchant side. And of course, moving forward, part of our plan is really to ramp up on our product features for white label, so that many of these potential trade association or clients on your base that requires quick and fast and customizable solution can tap on not just our current off-the-shelf solution, but of course new features moving forward, whether coming from financing or B2B workflow customization. So I would say that I think on SourceSage side, we are definitely committed to the initiative. We would actually also recommend more partners, and of course the end customers like SME merchants to join in Proxtera network, right? Because then they will be able to discover more potential buyers or sellers from other platforms and other countries.
Okay. All right. Thank you both, Jamin and Shirish, for your time, for sharing all of these like wonderful insights with all of us. I'm sure all of our viewers will be able to benefit from all of these initiatives, and with all of us better informed, I think we can all play like a part in bettering the e-commerce industry. So we've now come to the end of this copy session. A big thank you to our speakers, Jamin and Shirish again, as well as to all of you watching this. Do stay tuned as we bring to you more thought leadership videos in the coming weeks. A good week ahead and goodbye.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Adlan.
everyone.
Thanks, Jamin. Thank you.
Thank you.